Let me fix my kufi because this is a serious topic.
I'm a rock star. Every day I rock hard. I'm a motherfucking rock star. Every day I rock hard. I'm a rock star.
Hi Rockstars, I'm Aly, your Rockstar bar girl. And in this video, we are going to be talking about how to cut people off and kick people out. It is the hardest thing that you have to do as a bartender. It's something that you're guaranteed to have to deal with at some point. And I think this video is going to be really helpful to a lot of you. I touched on this in my increasing connections and tips video, so definitely click above. But this video is going to be all about the nitty-gritty of customers who need to stop drinking or need to actually leave your establishment. So the first thing I have to do is give you a big disclaimer, like red alert, sirens. Nothing that I am about to tell you is a one-size-fits-all approach to any circumstance behind the bar. Keep a clear head, make good choices, and you have to make those choices based on each and every guest and each and every interaction. In this video, we're going to talk about some specific tips that's going to help make cutting someone off or kicking them out go as smoothly as possible. Before we get into all of the elements, remember what your goal is. That at the end of the day, we are trying to collect the money, make sure no one gets hurt, and make sure everybody looks good. Keep that in the back of your mind while we go over these 6 tips. So, tip number 1 is to avoid problems to begin with. Too often, people who are intoxicated, acting unreasonably, or are very agitated are allowed to come into a bar or restaurant, get all the way to the bar, sit down, and place an order, when they really should have never been allowed in the establishment to begin with. Now, as the bartender, you are not necessarily at the front door. So hosts, servers, floor managers, listen. When someone comes to your establishment and you have that moment of, ooh, is that person even like okay to be here? Assume that they are not. Go over, say hi, introduce yourself, ask them if they need any help, and try to sniff out whether or not that person should even be served. If that person actually manages to make it to the bar, remember that you are the harbinger of all things alcohol. No one can take your hand, put it on a bottle, and make you pour a drink. Place a glass of water in front of them, tell them you'll be right back, go grab a manager, security, etc. Tip number 2, practice responsible alcohol serving at all times. I recommend that you go and get yourself an alcohol safety certification. I have a TIPS certification, TIPS. I'll leave some information down below for you. I think there's another type called Save Serve. There are different companies that basically just teach alcohol safety classes and then award some type of a certification afterwards saying that you've completed the course. I can only speak for New York. You are not required to have any type of alcohol safety certification in order to serve alcohol or be a bartender. But I highly recommend that you go and get that certification because it's going to really help you cater your alcohol pouring to each and every guest. It's also good because if you are certified in alcohol safety, you kind of have some backup to your claims that you know what you're doing and you know how to pour. A few of the important things that you are going to learn about in your alcohol safety training is going to be pacing, food, and water. So with pacing, I simply mean making sure not to back up people really quickly with refills on their drinks. And basically what I do is, when a guest comes in and they order their first drink, when they get to about a thumb's width of liquid in the bottom of their first drink, I want to offer them a second. Not only is that good customer service, it's a good sales technique because people are much more likely to order a second drink if they realize they have just a little bit left of the first than if you let them finish completely. If you let them finish completely, they start thinking about getting the check, closing out, and going home. But if you catch them before they finish, then you might get a second drink out of them. But after that first round, I cut that out. Now I'm going to pace you. I'm going to let you finish every drink and ask me for another. When it comes to food, definitely recommend food to every single person who orders a drink at your bar. I hate when I see a guest come in and tell a host, a server, or bartender, "Oh, I'm just here for drinks," and then the host, server, or bartender just gives them a drink menu. What are you doing? Always, always, always provide a food menu to people who are drinking. This is going to increase your sales. But also, it's important for you to make sure that your guests are eating a reasonable amount of food as they are drinking. Recommend bar snacks to anybody sitting at the bar who's had a drink or two and hasn't ordered anything to eat yet. And finally, water. When it comes to the water, what I do is I always offer every single person who walks into my bar a glass of water. I give them the menu, drink and food, and I ask them if they want some water while they look everything over, okay? 99% of people say yes. So now they've got a water cup in front of them. I am going to wait until they're totally finished with that water, and then I'm going to replenish it without asking if they'd like more or not. I'm not going to refill it constantly and keep it full because then they won't drink anything else. But if they do manage to finish that entire cup of water, I'm going to replace them with another cup of water and let them just continue to hydrate themselves as they drink. Tip 3 is do not mind your business. Keep an ear and an eye to everything that is happening at the bar. Oftentimes, before things go totally left, there are signs that things are starting to unravel. You cannot afford to be Captain Oblivious when you are behind the bar. Too much is happening, and too much can happen way too quickly. If things start to make you uncomfortable, walk right over to the person and say, "Hey, is everything okay over here?" Just check in. You don't have to be loud. Certainly don't want to call a lot of attention to anyone or embarrass anybody, but it is your business what is happening at the bar. Tip number 4 is that once you've had that "is everything okay over here" moment, go tell someone. What? Nothing's happened yet. I know. When I am on the floor, I absolutely hate it when someone gets into a fight or gets really sick. The server who's serving them or the bartender who is serving them will say something like, "I knew this was going to happen." If you knew this was going to happen, then why didn't you tell somebody who could stop it? If you have gotten to the point where you have had to have that "is everything okay here" conversation with someone, now is the time to go and tell somebody, anybody, that something is going on. So when these two erupt into a huge fight, I have already let the managers know that this was building up as a problem. When the manager or security comes running over, they're not going to have to piece the dots together in the story of what happened. If you don't have floor manager, security, or someone whose job it is to be responsible for those things, and you're kind of all on your own, I recommend that you still tell your other staff members, whoever it is. Make sure that you are not the only person on staff who knows that something might erupt. Making sure that everyone on staff knows that a problem is arising is not just for the purpose of making sure that you have backup, it's also to make sure that you look good and remember our overarching goal. So you want to set everybody up for success. Side note on that, floor managers, security guards, please, please, please have your people's back. Do not create a situation where the bartender or the server is made out to be the bad guy and you, the manager or security, are the good guy. Managers, if you feel like a server or a bartender could have handled a situation better, or that they are a part of the reason why there is a problem to begin with, that is a conversation to be had after the problem has been effectively dissolved. All right, folks, now we get to the nitty-gritty. We have to decide whether or not to stop serving someone or whether to kick them out. There is a general rule of thumb that I follow that will help you out. If someone is drunk, we cut them off. If someone is violent, being inappropriate, refusing to pay, or throwing up, they are getting kicked out. We do not kick people out for getting drunk. People came to your bar and ordered alcohol for one reason only: to get drunk. Don't kick them out for it. Shake their hand and say congratulations. A guest is not the enemy just because they're drunk. If they haven't done anything else wrong besides become intoxicated, then we want to take care of that person. We just want to make sure that they don't get any more alcohol. So let's talk first about cutting people off. Cutting people off means that we are no longer going to be serving that guest alcohol. It doesn't mean that we are no longer going to be serving them at all. A guest that we're not serving at all is somebody we're kicking out. Someone who is drunk should be denied alcohol, but we don't have to stop serving them. Let's say someone orders a vodka tonic and you feel like totally uncomfortable serving them another one. You know that if they have one more, there's going to be a situation. Offer them something else instead. I like to say something like, vodka tonic? You know what? I think we're going to slow it down on those right now. Can I get you just a soda or maybe something to eat, and then we'll come back to that? That is one of the best ways to let a guest know, hey, I am still serving you. You are still my friend. You are welcome to sit at this bar and keep watching that game or having that conversation. I'm happy to have you. But alcohol, right now, we will not. Say it with a smile on your face, be low key about it, and once you've said it, stand firm. That's super, super important. If you come back off of that, if you get talked into it, that person is only going to try to do it again the next round, and now they're drunker, and now they're madder, and things might not go as smoothly. If someone has become irate and violent, they've become inappropriate, whether it's sexual, racial, what have you, refusing to pay or throwing up, we are no longer going to be serving you. You're not buying anything. You have no reason to be here. This is, of course, the most difficult and most delicate part of this whole process. So I'm going to give you some pointers. If you work in an establishment where you have a manager or security or somebody who is responsible for handling those types of situations, they are the ones who will physically remove that person from the bar. You are not going to be that person, and don't make yourself that person. That is not your job. What you are going to do is you are going to go to your register, you're going to print that person's bill, and you're going to drop it right in front of them. And then you're going to walk away. No commentary from the peanut gallery, no standing in front of the situation and drawing all of your other bar guests' attention to what's happening at the bar. You have other guests to attend to. You want to keep them served, you want to keep them calm, and you want to make sure that whatever this problem is that's happening doesn't spread out to the rest of the bar. Your manager or your security is going to stand there while that person pays their bill and then is escorted out, if they are a manager or a security guard who knows what they're doing. Now, what do you do if you don't have a manager or you don't have security and you are all on your own? I want to be perfectly clear with each and every one of you that I value your safety and security. And under no circumstances am I encouraging anybody to jump into a fight or get physical with any of your guests. Or to even physically remove any of your guests. And I wish I could say that it's equally as easy as a woman to bounce people out of your bar or establishment as it is a man, but come on, that would not be true, so I'm not even going to try to feed you that nonsense. To all my ladies out there, doing this job is a hard job. It can be scary sometimes. But I will also tell you that I, at 115 pounds and 5-ish feet tall, have bounced men out of my bar or restaurant on a regular basis for the last 13 years. It absolutely can be done. Prepare yourself mentally, be ready for it, keep calm. So once you've made the determination that you need to physically remove someone from the bar, do try to get yourself back up of any kind. Go tell the dishwasher, tell your bar back, grab your favorite regular, your best barfly, grab anybody and let them know that you are about to kick somebody out so that they can keep an eye out or at least be physically close to you. Then you're going to return to the register and you're going to print that person's bill. Hopefully you have their card at the bar. If you do, you're going to run that card, you're going to take that bill, you're going to come around from the bar, and you're going to start to proceed to the door with it as you speak with that guest. Again, not being loud. You're close enough that the person can hear you, but maybe not close enough that they can physically touch you. And you're going to basically lure them out the door with their own credit card. I have something of yours that you want. To get it, you're going to need to follow me to the door. So start to proceed to the door with the bill as you kind of usher that person out with your body language. We are going this way. We are going to sign your bill this way. We are going to get your card back to you over here. You want to get them as close to the door and hopefully all the way out of it as you possibly can. As you do that, use your own body to reinforce your message. Stand in between them and the rest of the bar and continue to move forward with progress. Keep a steady pace. Don't allow them to puff up and back you up. Keep moving forward until you get them to the door and out. Once someone is at the door, they're not really likely to insist on trying to come back in. At this point now, they're just going to start cursing you out and screaming all kinds of shit about how this place sucks, and maybe they slam the door on the way out or they kick a garbage can as they leave, but they're not likely to try to come back in the bar. It's when somebody is sitting at the bar that they want to refuse to leave is really what happens. So if you can get them moving to the point where they're not really comfortable and seated in their space anymore, then leaving is like the only sensible option. They'll usually take it. So don't put your hands on anybody in this exchange. Don't physically try to remove them from the bar, but with your body language and perhaps with some of their personal belongings, if you can grab them, lure them out of the bar. If you don't have a credit card of theirs to lure them, that's okay. Print the bill and go outside. I've done it before and it has worked. Suddenly, there is no bartender, right? This person inevitably is going to follow you outside. Once we've gotten to this point, if none of these tactics have worked and you are by yourself, then we are definitely at a time to call the police situation, which is never fun. As a little side note, all of the examples that I've given you so far have been about like one person getting drunk on their own. Sometimes you will have problems happening with groups of people, and when it comes to groups of people, I apply a across the board type of policy. If one of you needs to be cut off or kicked out, then all of you need to be cut off or kicked out. There will definitely be situations where you'll make exceptions to those rules. I had this happen once at a brunch. It was disgusting. A guy was with a group of people who were eating and drinking. They were enjoying bottomless mimosas, but they weren't overly intoxicated. He just happened to have eaten something that didn't agree with him, and literally out of nowhere, he went from totally fine to like explodo barf all over the floor. I did ask that individual to leave, but the rest of the group was very apologetic. They insisted that this was a one-off situation where the guy was sick. He wasn't even that drunk. One of the friends left with the sick guy to take him home, and we allowed the rest of the group to continue to drink and eat. But that's an exception, okay? So obviously always apply your judgment in every situation, but when it comes to groups, I like to apply the rule across the board. And now it's time to make sure that everybody looks good. We want to look good. We want our establishment to look good. We want it to look like we did everything we can to prevent the situation. So after you've gotten rid of that guest, the first thing you want to do is blow it off with a smile. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it off. When you have these types of interactions with people, it is going to be some of the most upsetting shit you're ever going to go through. If you continue after that situation, angry, talking about it with your coworkers, talking shit about the person with the guests at the bar, blah, blah, blah. The more you do that, the less good you look. Anybody who's kind of like popping shit after an interaction seems like an aggressor. Let your coworkers and your guests see that there's not an aggressive bone in your body. All the angst and anger was coming from the irate guests or the inappropriate guest and not from you. You then want to proceed to check in on each and every guest. Go up to everyone in the bar. Hey guys, I'm so sorry about that. Is everybody okay? Can I get you anything? That doesn't usually happen here. My bad. Let's say the person you removed was offensive to somebody in the bar. They might not be okay. You want to calm them down in a way that seems appropriate. And then finally, you want to document it somehow. Some restaurants will have an incident report that they fill out every time they kick someone out. There might be like just a notebook behind the bar of like people we hate that we've banned. If your bar or restaurant doesn't have anything like that, just make a note of what happened. At 12 o'clock, this person, card name Michael Berry, got really drunk and tried to swing on one of our guests, so I had him removed by the security guard. This way, if Michael Berry left your restaurant and then committed a crime or hurt himself somehow, and the police show up the next day trying to retrace Michael Berry's steps, you have record of what happened and record of the fact that you took the responsible steps to try to keep everybody safe and properly served. So rock stars, there you have it. I really hope this video helps all of you out there. If you found this video helpful or if you just liked it, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them for me down below. And of course, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at rockstar_bargirl. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, Rockstars.
I'm a rock star.